Okay, in this lesson we will solve problems involving direct variation. First, let's find out what direct variation means. Direct variation is a linear relationship between two variables, x, your independent, and y, your dependent, that always has a constant unchanged ratio k and can be represented by y equals kx. So if you're used to seeing these forms of y equals mx plus b, it's pretty much the same thing, except now we're just saying y equals mx, but in this case they're calling mk, or the slope. It's pretty much like the b is 0. Okay, so it's the same as a linear proportional relationship, just as I explained above. It's a proportional relationship. Okay, once again, what that means is the b is 0, so therefore we don't even write the b. Passes through the origin, like I said. When your x value is 0, your y value is 0, and it's proportional. Constant of proportionality represented as k equals yx, which is great for us because now, in order to solve for our slope or our k, we just have to take a y value and divide it by an x value, or the point. So for example, if I'm given the point, let's go 3, 6, to find the k, all I got to do is take 6 divided by 3, the y divided by the x. So in this case, our k would be 2. Easy enough. K is also known as constant of variation. So whether you hear constant of proportionality or constant of variation, it means the same thing. And direct variation can also be phrased as direct proportion or directly proportional. So if you hear those phrases, direct variation, direct proportional, or directly proportional, you know you're dealing with direct variation, which means you're dealing with this equation y equals kx. Pretty easy to solve. And like I said, it's like writing y equals mx, just this time you don't have a b. So don't confuse it. I'm just giving it a different name. Let's see here. We've got in the first problem, the value of y varies directly, so direct variation, with x. So y varies directly. Key. Makes life easy. When y is 0.45, x is equal to 0.2. So once again, we're trying to get in the form y equals kx, since it's direct variation. All we got to do is find our k. And once again, to find our k equals our y, our given y over our given x. So we can take 0.45 and divide it by 0.2. And in this case, when we take 0.45 divided by 0.2, once again, use a calculator. I'm using a calculator myself. We get 2.25. So I'm going to take that and just plug it in for the k. So my equation is y equals 2.25x. Now it'll be pretty easy to solve anything that they throw at me. So A says, what is the value of x when y equals 37.125? Alright, so they're giving me a y value, and they want me to solve for the x. So we're going to plug in a y and solve for the x. So using our equation, we're going to plug that in right there. So we get 37.125 equals, once again, equals 2.25x, and we're going to solve for the x. Okay, well, to solve in this case, all we need to do is divide by 2.25 to get rid of that 2.25 in front of that x. Once again, solve for x, what I mean is I just want to find out what 1x equals, or get that x all by itself. So we got 2.25 times x, so we must do the opposite, which is divide. So we're going to divide by 2.25. What I do to one side, though, I must do to the other. So I'm going to divide this by 2.25 as well. Okay? Well, real quick, let me take a quick picture here and show you what I'm about to do. Select that. Okay. Just so you can see that I also will use a calculator. I know this isn't the greatest format, but once again, all we're trying to do here is we're trying to take 37.125. We're going to divide it by that 2.25. And we get 16.5. Okay, so 16.5. Going back. So, once again, that 37.125 divided by 2.25 was 16.5 equals, well, like I said, those kill each other. 2.25 divided by 2.25 is 1, or 1x, or x. So there you go. There's your answer for A. When y is 37.125, x is 16.5. All right, B is a little bit easier. Let me write B here. Okay. All right, this one asks, what is the value of y when x is 8? Well, like I said, a lot easier because it gives us the x value. So now we're just going to plug in the x right here and find out what y is. So we're going to take y equals 2.25 and plug in that 8 for the x value. So saying x, put 8. So, of course, 2.25 times 8, we get 18. So that answers part B for us. So there's our answers. When x is 8, y is 18. Part A, once again, when y was 37.125, x was 16.5. And that's all the difference. So they give you the y, you know you're going to divide. They give you the x, you just take your constant of proportionality, your k, and multiply it to your x value. Pretty easy. Once you find that k value. Let's move on to the next problem. It says, Gary's salary varies directly. Okay, once again, direct variation. Makes life easy. As the number of days he works. So the salary is like your y value because it says salary varies directly. So always remember, salary varies directly. That means that's the y. As the number of days. Number of days or days will be your x. Okay, so remember that salary varies directly. Y, number of days, your x. If his salary for 5 days, so I'm going to go 5 days. Let's go and rewrite that as 5. So when x equals 5, kind of like saying that. So if his salary for 5 days is $42, or y is 42. So what they're saying is when x is 5, y is 42. How much would it be for 12 days? Okay, well, once again, since it's direct variation, we're going to do y equals kx. Let's find our k by taking y divided by x. Well, y value here was 42, our salary, over x, our days, 5. And 42 divided by 5, we get 8.4. So pretty much saying he makes $8.40 a day. All right, so plugging that k into our equation, we get y equals 8.4x, or $8.40. Just depends on how you want to write it. Okay. Let's see, that's just for 12 days. So remember, days represents the x value, so we're going to take that 12 and plug it in for the x. So we want to find out his salary when our x value is 12. So y equals 8.4 times 12. All right, using our calculator, we can find that 8.4 times 12 is equal to 100.8, or in this case, since we're talking about money and y is money, it's going to be $100.80. Pretty easy. Again, just find that constant proportionality, plug it into your equation, and then solve for whatever they're giving you. If they give you the x value, just plug it in, solve for your y. Or if they give you the y value, solve for the x. Okay, let's look at another one. It says, in physical science class, Ernie discovered that a 4-pound weight stretched a coil spring 14.2 inches, and an 8-pound weight stretched the same spring 28.4 inches. Based on these two observations, he determined that the spring's amount of stretch varies directly. So again, we hear that keyword, varies directly, with the amount of weight applied. What is the weight? So we want to find the weight in pounds that will stretch the same coil 106.5 inches. Okay, he determined the spring's amount of stretch, so our stretch varies directly. So our amount of stretch is our y, with the amount of weight. Weight is our x. Okay, so once again, y equals kx, since we're varying directly or finding direct proportion. So once again, to find our k, we'll take an x divided by a y. So remember, the spring stretch is a y value. So here's a y value, 14.2. And the y value that coordinates with is 4 for the weight. So I'm going to rewrite that as 4 comma 14.2 real quick as a point. That's 1 point that we're given. We're also told an 8-pound weight. Once again, that's the next value since it's weight. And the string stretch is 28.4, so there's a y value, 28.4, so that's another point. And it doesn't matter which point you choose. I'm just going to show you. It really doesn't matter. So once again, to get that, it's y over x, right? So 28.4, I'm going to go and use that one, that y value, and divided by its coordinated x value. So 28.4 divided by 8, we get 3.55. Okay. Just to show you it didn't matter which one I used, I'm going to go ahead and show you that if I use the y value of 14.2 and divided by its coordinating x value of 4, well, 14.2 divided by 4 is, well, lo and behold, 3.55. So it doesn't matter, just choose one of the points since it says varies directly, a direct proportion. Now let's plug it into our equation. Okay, so we know now y equals, our k is 3.55, so we'll replace it with that, times x. Okay. In this problem, though, they're asking us what is the weight. So we're looking for the x value, and we're given the coil stretch, or the y value. So we're going to plug that y value in right there. So we got 106.5 equals 3.55x. Okay, once again, we're trying to solve for x and get it by itself, find out the weight. So we need to get rid of that 3.55. And once again, it's multiplying to that x, so in order to get rid of it, we're going to divide, do the opposite, by 3.55. Because once again, 3.55 divided by 3.55 is 1. That's going to get us that 1x that we need. But once again, what I do to one side, I must do to the other side. Keep my equation balanced. Okay. Well, once again, you can use your calculator if you need to. Taking that 106.5 and dividing it by 3.55, we will find that that is 30. So 30 equals x, or x equals 30. Doesn't matter how you write it, so x equals 30. Or 30 pounds in this case, because each we're using pounds. So when the coil stretch 106.5 inches, we're using a 30-pound weight. Pretty much easy enough. Like I said, direct variation is just y equals kx. Find a point, take a given point, take the y value divided by the x value. You get your constant proportionality, your k value. Plug that into your formula, and then go and solve for whatever they give you. They give you the x value, solve for the y. If they give you a y value, solve for the x. Pretty easy. Alright guys, that's today's lesson. Once again, look over any of the other resources or check out this video again if you need some extra help.